guys, Di here from Di's Den, and this week I'd like to show you how I made this little card. It's a mignon. How gorgeous is he? And I did use a retired stamp set for this little banner and the words in the inside. There's a lot of products here that are not available anymore current, but you know what? We've all got them, so, and if we haven't got Stampin' Up ones, I'm sure we've got other brands. And this card is just showing you how I made this card. I'm not advertising any particular product whatsoever. So let's get cracking. Let's have a look, see what we've got. Alright, so we've got a card base, and I've done all my cutting out. My card base measures 8 1/4 by 5 7/8. My front layer, is in, I've done this in crushed curry, but this layer measures 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. And my insert is the same size of 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. For his overalls here, I've got a piece that measures 3 inches by 2.5 inches, and this is in Pretty Peacock. I've also got his straps, which measure 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches, and there's 2 of those. And his pocket, which is half of one of these stitched nested labels, and it's the second size here. So, and I've cut it in half. So, and then on top of that, I have a 1/2 inch circle and one of those tiny little, oh, that's the wrong colour one. Oh, there we go. And a Pretty Peacock little flower from that little Carl punch. I have 2 more little flowers that I've cut in the black, and they're for the buttons on his shirt. Then I have a strip for his goggles, which measures, let's see, his headband measures 3 7/8 by 3/4 inch. Then I have, oh, don't go away, 2 silver circles that measure 1.5 inch circles, and 2 white circles that are 1 1/4 inch circles. Then 2 brown circles that measure 3/4 inch circles, and then 2 black 1/2 inch circles. Then I did do the banner out of this Bonza Buddies, which is this banner here, and I did that in some red card that was a bit left over. And then we have his mouth, which I will show you how I made his mouth. So what you're going to need is a lot of circle punches. So you're going to need, and I've done all the punching, so I'm just going to go through them for you. You're going to need 1.5 inch, 1 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch, and a 1/2 inch punch, circle punch, and I have a small flower punch. But if you've got a small punch that you want to make just buttons with, you can do that as well. So I've done all of that because I just didn't want to sit here and chomp them all out all at once. So we're going to stamp the inside of this card first with our memento and the saying that says, "I'm glad it's your birthday, so I can tell you how wonderful you are." So I'm going to do that one first, and then I'm going to pop that away because that's all the stamping we need to do. So let's pop that out of the way, and that one can sit on the side and dry. We're going to bring in our scoreboard, and we're going to score our card at the 4 1/8 mark. Turn this up the right way. 4 1/8 mark, and that's all the scoring we're going to do as well. So let's fold and burnish our card so that it's done and dusted. There we go, all done and dusted. So I'll pop that on one side as well because we don't need that for a while. So we're going to make up our mignon. So we're going to use our piece of yellow, well, in this case this is crushed curry, and I'm just going to lay my piece of card that measures 3 inches by 2.5 inches down the bottom here and glue it on. So let's just glue that on. Whoops, let's put a bit of glue in that corner. Just so that it butts up against this bottom edge, and trying to leave the same amount of gap on either side here and here. And then we're going to pop his straps on exactly the same way. We're going to put a bit of glue on both of these straps, and we're going to pop them on here so that the straps are on an angle like so. Okie dokie, that's our straps on the card. And let's get my black Sharpie pen, and what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to make like little lines along here so it looks like stitch lines. So we're doing that on both of the straps, like little tick marks, looks like little stitch marks all the way around the front of the pair of pants that he's got on. And now we just trim these pieces off that we don't want. So we just trim them nicely up on either side. They're all nice and dry. We're going to then pop his little buttons onto his brace pieces. Oh, I didn't even bring in my I didn't bring in my tweezers for this. That was a bit of a silly thing to do, wasn't it, or not to do. So we're going to put his little things on here that sort of look like buttons on his braces, and then with his pocket we're going to put this 1/2 inch black circle on here. Now most of them have a letter on there. I think that must be their names, I don't actually really know. So, but I'm just going to put another one of these little flowers on here. So, and then I'm going to pop that up on the dimension and pop it onto the front of his, I don't need 2 dimensions, what am I doing? Onto the front of his pants. And then I'll just use my Sharpie again just to put some little lines along the edge so that it looks like it's stitched. How gorgeous is that looking so far? So let's pop that out of the way. We're going to pop his headband on. So let's pop some glue onto his headband. Now this piece is a piece of, it's a shiny piece of black paint card, so it's white on the other side. But if you've only got normal black card, that's fine. And then I'm going to glue his 2 silver eye pieces onto the band, trying to get them fairly close to the middle on both sides. So we can get them stuck down nice and neatly. They're nice and neatly onto there like so. And then we're going to pop the white ones on, and I'm going to pop them on with a bit of snail, because onto the silver you'll find that the wet glue doesn't glue down very well. So let's pop his white eyes in the middle there. And then we can pop his brown eyes on top of that with a bit of wet glue. and his black eyes on top of that with some little dimensions. I've got some small ones here, so let's get a small one, pop in the middle with his black eye bit. Then we'll pop them onto his eyes. And that way they pop out a bit. Whoops, I've got taken the back of that one, silly. Now I have a white gel pen, so I'm going to just, with my white gel pen, I'm just going to give him a bit of, looks like shadow, shine on his eyes there. So all we've got to do now is his mouth. Now I've got his mouth cut out here, but I'm going to show you how I did that. So somewhere around here I did put a piece of black card, excuse me, I'll move that out of the way, and I used my 1.5 inch circle punch, and I punched out a circle about just over about halfway, like so. And then what I did is I popped it back in again on an angle so that there's a little bit more showing than there in there, like so. And then I just cut that slither off, and that gives you his mouth. Look at that, see? Well, that one looks a bit better, it's actually a bit bigger. So that's how I did his mouth. So we're going to stick his mouth onto his body, onto his, well, I suppose it is his body, isn't it? The yellow bit. And then we can pop that onto there on an angle, because you want to make it look like he's smiling. Oops, it's got a bit, way too much glue on there, but let's see if I've got a piece of paper here I can pop on there. Let's pop that on there just to sink up some of the glue. There we go. It will dry clear. The glue I use dries clear. Okay, so then we can pop that onto the front of our card. So let's glue that onto the front of our card. And there we go. That's onto the front of our card. Just make sure he's down nice and neat. And then we can pop our centre in. We can put our sentiment insert sheet into the middle here. Which we stamped earlier. And then I just use this banner, whoops, to pop a little bit of glue onto the back of the banner pieces and along these edges, and we glued that across the top on an angle, just so that it finishes the inside of the card off. There we go, that's the inside of the card done. That's the outside. How gorgeous is our little mignon, hey? Isn't he just absolutely gorgeous? I think he is. And that's our card for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this week's card. If you have, I'd love to be able to help you with purchasing. We can purchase the card stock. Oops, excuse me. We can't purchase the punches or the stamp set in the side, but if you would like the measurements for this card, you will find them on my Facebook group page, which is called Diane for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials, and I'd love you to give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. So please let me know what you think. I will see you again next week. Bye for now.